Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us for another show. As you might tell, Christmas is not far away. We've got St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith joining us today. I should know we're taping this show on Wednesday, December 18th. And Tim, I don't think anybody's going to be able to see the show before tonight. But for the record, folks looking at the set here, our great Santa Claus show, I think that's even a little more highly rated than our sports show. I'm kidding about that, but that's the biggie show here, and that's coming up tonight. But I guess most folks will just hear that after the fact, but hopefully everybody knows that. But pretty nice set here. Anyway, anyway, Christmas a week away. How are things in St. Albans at Christmas time, Mr. Mayor?
I think, as we talked before the show, Richard, things are quiet.
Yeah.
I think all the community activities went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
Weather cooperated for the most part.
Well, I'm very sad to report I had something I couldn't shake. I missed the tractor parade. In fact, I was driving to Enosburg and saw some of the tractors on the way to St. Albans, so I got a little dose of it. But one of my favorite events. But it sounds like biggest ever, maybe tractor parade or a good one.
Yeah, I think it's comparable to last year, 60-ish.
Yeah, that's a great show.
And it brings out a ton of people, and it's a lot of people, not just in Franklin County, but Chittenden County are aware of it. They come up and watch it.
Does nobody else? I'm not aware of any other town or city that does that, or do they?
I think some of the smaller towns of Franklin County does, like Enosburg and.
I think Franklin's got something.
Franklin, I did see that. I think Richford possibly.
Oh, really?
I think a lot of the ones that participate in the St. Albans one stay lit up, and they hit these other towns as well.
Yeah.
So.
There were even people parking by my house, about a mile out of the downtown.
Yeah, no, and there was a traffic jam on Messenger. All the cars parked on one side of the street, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then you had traffic coming north and south, so they butted heads trying to get through that. So that I don't know what the solution is for that. We put some signs up, but they don't carry much weight.
Yeah.
So.
Hard to deal with that. I did catch Ringing of the Bells, nice event, but it sounds like the Christmas stuff has gone well.
Yeah, rang the bells. The Hallmark in the park with the tree lighting went very well. The park looks great. Kudos to first response labor. They did put all the lights out, which is
Taylor Park's great. I've heard people some rave reviews. Nice that the TV folks pick it up. One of the cameras from Channel 3, maybe 5 are there.
So. And then you got, on New Year's Eve, there will be fireworks in the park.
We're talking fireworks. What time fireworks? They don't wait till midnight. These are earlier.
Yeah, it's early. It's 7 o'clock or
7
something
or something.
like that. Yeah, don't hold me to that, but it is
earlier
definitely much earlier.
fireworks.
The thinking is get people downtown and go out for dinner or whatever.
Is that the light show? Is there also a light show on?
Yeah, there
Is that
was.
what happened last couple of years?
There was, I think, for
last year didn't seem to go as well as the year before.
And they didn't do it this year. I mean, they did. It was part of the tree lighting ceremony.
Right.
And to your point, it didn't go over well.
Yeah.
They had some technology differences.
Yeah.
Tough one. So but I think they changed that up with the tree lighting and had a lot of activities for families in the park, and I thought it went over real well. And just to give credit to Arlie Young at City Hall and Jen DiLatello, I believe it is, and her husband Mark.
Did Natalie? Did I see? Is it? You got I'm thinking of their last name. I thought I just saw a DeNatalie, but I probably dreamed that up. You're probably way with her last name.
DiNatello, I think.
Oh, DiNatello, so I'm way off.
I think, but I may be off as well. But
great
I apologize for that.
Good job.
Yeah, they put a lot of time into it, and the events were great, and I think it was the biggest crowd I've seen for the tree lighting.
Interesting.
So, weather held out. The wind was cold on Thursday before the tractor parade, even Friday, but it died down in time for the parade. So, a lot of good community
Yeah.
events.
Boy, not much of a winter so far, snow-wise, and in fact, given the forecast, boy, a white Christmas looks fairly dubious at this moment. Sounds like a cold weekend coming up, but
Cold weekend, I
boy,
think
not
we're,
seeing much snow.
yeah, some are getting snow, but the valley, Champlain Valley won't, I
Guess
guess.
upper elevations have been doing okay, I guess.
So we'll see. The other thing I just want to mention regarding
Yeah.
the activities was the Festival of Trees did a casino night at City Hall, and that went over very well.
Yeah.
I think, I hope they continue with that activity, because it seemed like a lot of people enjoyed it.
Yeah. Public safety, of course, a huge issue around here and probably just about every other place, but I guess winter helps. Is that issue kind of calm down quite a bit?
Yeah, it appears that winter helps a lot.
Yeah. I mean, any folks living outside or have found what, couch sitting or a car or
Yeah,
something,
that's what
presumably?
it appears to be that way.
Yeah.
There is, the number of calls the police have taken on has been reduced significantly. Talking to one officer, the quietness, if you will, has given them time to complete all their reporting from the summer. So
Yeah.
it frees them up to get caught up. There'll be public information here in January, but we're negotiating with the union. I can tell people that the cost of hiring and paying a police officer is going to be higher.
Okay.
That will be reflective in the city's budget for sure.
Yeah. And again, talk about something, I mean, it sounds like you have no choice. I mean, everybody, probably every department in the state, not to mention state police, sheriff's department, everybody's after folks. So
Yeah,
it sounds like unless you're paying a competitive wage, you're going to just obviously lose some folks, I
Yeah,
would think.
no doubt, the wage is, to your point, I think Milton's leading the way with, they've increased their pay significantly. So now it's sort of a chain reaction. Everyone is trying to stay within a reasonable budget, but also
Yeah.
be reasonable about what they will pay police officers.
Yeah.
Years ago, 3-4 years ago, the city committed to paying full health benefits without any contribution
Wow.
from the individual. And that, I think, helped us recruit some folks.
Yeah.
That's still there, but moving forward, I don't know what the final number is, but they are having multiple discussions about what that pay is gonna look like.
Wow.
And the discussion is mainly for that individual coming out of the police academy and what's that starting pay.
Yeah.
Obviously, anyone with seniority or years in the profession will be increasing as well. So that's probably the big budget item for us moving forward.
Yeah.
And then who knows what the education piece is going to be.
I guess what the word from the state was, after last year's, I guess it started at about, 18 or 19%, and they
Yeah.
cut that down a bit to, 13.9, about 14%. And the figure I'm hearing this year is, 5.9?
I have 5.9, 6, 7,
Of
but,
course, the governor, Scott, who was on VMT just this morning,
oh, he was.
talking about saying, hey, I want no increase. We'll see what the legislature does, but it sounds like voters kind of made their feelings pretty strong in November. We'll see what happens in Montpelier.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct. They definitely made their voice heard.
Yeah,
But at the same time, we as a council, we as a city, we've heard people multiple times in either a public safety forum or a council meeting that people are fed up with the crime that's going on in the city and the activity, drug activity and whatnot.
yeah,
We're hoping that we should be seeing some activity of drug bust and whatnot with the
the
street
street
crimes
crimes unit is back up now.
It's back up.
Yeah.
It started back, I think back in September, but it takes some time to build relationships, if you will.
And with the two officers with that, or?
There'll be two officers,
Yeah.
right? So the decision that St. Albans voters are going to have to make is, the budget will be increasing.
Yeah,
We don't know what that amount is to date, but, and the main amount of the increase, it will be for police coverage. And I think, based on what we heard, I think people want the police service to be more active and more present than what it was this past summer.
Yeah, staffing, how are you doing staffing-wise with the PD?
I think last time I spoke to the city manager, we were down one,
Yeah,
but you did have a class coming out of the
from
police
the police
academy.
academy.
So maybe, I haven't heard if we picked anyone up there, but
Coverage in St. Albans town appears to be going okay.
yeah, the committee, the joint police committee meets regularly, and I haven't heard any negatives coming out of that, so I expect
Yeah.
no news is good news, right, Richard?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
So-
I guess Police Chief Levesque, I think you're very happy with him, can I assume?
Lamont.
Chief, that's the second, I've messed up his name before,
Jeff-
sorry, Chief Lamont.
Jeff Levesque.
Morris Mo
yeah.
Lamont.
Jeff Levesque isn't a police officer yet.
Oh, is
so-
that right? Sorry. Can I assume that you're not too worried that he might be going after the top job in Burlington with John Murad
Yeah,
departing
I
in
don't.
April?
I
Sorry,
don't
Chief
think.
Lamont.
I don't think Chief will be looking in that
And
direction.
of course, the Swanton chief used to be number 2 in Burlington. I mentioned that to
don't-
Bill Sheets. Something tells me he won't be going
Yeah,
for the top
I
job
don't
down
think.
there. Boy, Burlington PD situation still sounds like it's really in tough shape.
And then to have the mayor
And
reject.
the mayor unhappy, I guess Murad came out with his big,
a 70-page report that he was
144-page
asked to
report.
put together.
Right, and she's
And
saying
then,
no.
No, we're not going to accept that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
pretty wild.
that's the type of environment they're dealing with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the council chair was on 620 yesterday,
Huh.
and he's working hard to try to mend those fences, I think, with the police
Yeah.
department, but, one step forward, two back is what
Yeah.
it seems to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Chief Sullivan or Chief Lamont, Chief Sullivan and Swanton will be
Yeah,
submitting their resumes anytime soon.
I mean, you wonder who would even be going after that job. I guess there's always somebody, but I mean, good luck getting
I think
to my eyes, anybody close to the, close to a Murad, but, I guess I see things differently.
I expect, if I were to make a prediction, I think it's going to be someone like DePozo, who came out of a bigger department,
Yeah.
New York or Boston or Philly, and wants to get out of the big city. And
Yeah,
that's my guess, is that they end up with someone
yeah,
from a larger department, for sure.
yeah. Speaking kind of the public safety issue, concern about just some of the landlords around town not dealing with some bad tenants enough, and again, that's, you folks, the city council's been putting together an ordinance, is that still being worked on, or is that?
Oh, no, we had the
that's a
second
done-
reading.
that's
We
a
had the
done
second
deal?
reading, and it's moving forward.
And talk about that again a little bit more, Mr. Mayor?
Basically, it's if you're a landlord and you're renting your apartments to individuals who are causing a public nuisance, that could be anything from drug activity to loud noise, loud music every night, screeching cars, parties,
Yeah.
just those type of activities where if the police are called to the site 3 times in 3 times within a 90-day period, then the landlord will, and there'll be notices ahead of that. They'll be aware
Yeah.
of, because many times, and this is one thing we knocked around, many times, if you're a out-of-town landlord and the police go to your property for whatever reason,
Yeah,
the landlord isn't notified.
doesn't even know
He
that this
doesn't even
happened.
know, right. I mean, we've had that
Huh.
next door to where I live. I've had conversations with the landlord there, who's very good, and said, oh, did you know that, no, I didn't know that the police were there.
Wow,
So they will be notified that, we've been called to your property, and we have concerns about your tenant, and they need to address it with their tenant. And over time, if things don't change, then there's a possibility for the landlord to be fined, and start, hopefully, if it continues, to start the eviction process. And as I tell people, if you're a good landlord and you rent to good people,
Yeah,
and your tenants are not a nuisance to your neighbors, you have nothing to worry about.
yeah,
It's those landlords, and, many people probably could pinpoint who they are, have many police calls, and it goes on deaf ears. So this is an opportunity and this goes right to public safety, it goes right to the crime levels. If we can continue to monitor and to be active in the activities going around in the neighborhood, I think the city will be better off.
yeah. Getting much reaction from landlords about this?
No,
or-
I mean, in passing, I've heard of some, but we had 2 readings on it, and we had 2 landlords show up, and both, I think, left content with what was discussed,
Yeah.
and I think they understand, and both of them were good landlords, so their concern wasn't very high.
Yeah,
And the ones that are not, or have not been a good landlord in the past, did not show.
are there a lot of out-of-town landlords in the city, or maybe any?
I don't know what
any-
that count is, but I think,
Yeah.
yes, there's some. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say a lot.
Yeah,
The ones that are owner occupied, those are probably the best scenarios that we have, because
Right.
they know what's going on. But
yeah,
if you're living in Chittenden County, then that's much more difficult discussion. But I think, I think this goes right to, as I said, public safety and working towards cleaning up neighborhoods.
yeah,
A lot of people don't realize, I mean, I don't know what the impact is. We live near a 4-unit apartment house,
huh,
and I'm not sure what that impact is, financial impact to us if we choose to sell and move on.
yeah,
I gotta believe it's a deterrent for someone to buy our house
yeah,
with a 4-unit right next door, even though the 4-unit and the landlord have been very good, but
huh,
you never know how long that's gonna last either.
Yeah.
It does go in cycles.
yeah,
Years ago, we had, when I owned it, I didn't live there, but we had police knock on the door at 2 in the morning, and
really,
they had a gentleman next door with a gun. So that was at 2 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning. and
wow,
A little bit of a standoff, but,
really,
I guess that can happen in single-family homes as well, but
Yeah.
I think it's more likely to happen. I think the nuisance piece is more likely to happen on a apartment house than it is on a single-family.
yeah. Here, just how tight the housing market is seemingly all over Vermont. In St. Albans, have you got a feel for that? If you wanted to get an apartment, is there just a very
Well-
low vacancy rate?
Well, the apartment house on the facility on Lake Street,
175 Lake, just
175.
about?
just about, I was down at Midas the other day, and the landscaping, the facility looks great.
Yeah,
It's close to, I think they are taking applications now, so that's 72.
yeah,
So I think that frees up a lot. We're still having discussions about another facility at the Fonda site, for sure.
yeah. And you call that what, workforce housing? Is that
Workforce
the-
housing,
How
average
many units are you talking?
82.
Really?
Average income would be $45,000 dollars.
Does that sound pretty solid? That, again, you're still trying to work that out, but is
We had 3 proposals on it and need to narrow it down and negotiate what that contract's gonna look like.
and Cathedral Square looks like they're
Yeah,
moving right along?
Cathedral Square looks great. There'll be 32, 33 apartments. And then, who knows what that frees up for other housing? Interest rates are
Right.
coming down,
Yeah.
so time will tell, I guess.
City Council, you folks were talking about some significant housing right near City Hall. I know that's farther
Yeah.
down. Does that sound like that might be pretty tough to put together, certainly down the road a ways?
It's been put on the back burner.
Oh, yeah.
I think as far as the council discussion has gone. Dom, city manager may be working on it, but I believe his priority is the Fonda site.
Yeah.
And trying to get that one moved forward.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the other downtown units.
Yeah. Well, again, certainly sounds like St. Albans is doing its share on the housing
Well,
front.
and that's my discussion with legislators and others is,
Right.
you'd like to think when they, they're implementing their goals
Yeah.
and what they hoped all towns to, or what the towns that have the water and sewer to begin with, and what they're doing to grow the housing inventory, you'd like to think that we will get some credit for what we've already done.
Yeah.
Between Cathedral Square, Lake Street, and potentially this new one, 200 units
Yeah.
for a community the size of, 7,000 people.
Certainly sounds pretty significant to me.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of the state.
Yeah.
It's still they've done a lot of things to address it, but I think they still have a ways to go.
Yeah. I certainly hear some criticism, I can only assume you do too, the city giving financial support to businesses, that's an issue that obviously I have a couple friends who are always asking me about that. And I'm sure you hear some of that too.
Yep.
But again, the underlying thinking, hey, we gotta, downtown means a lot, we gotta do what we can to keep downtown going.
Yeah, I mean, an individual commented to me, so you're playing both sides of the fence here.
Yeah.
An individual commented to me yesterday that, well, maybe the city isn't as active as what it has been, and it goes directly to the point that we feel as a council and the city manager feel that if we don't invest in these buildings for the most part, it's a deterrent for attracting new business. Whereas if we can invest in these and we can keep the storefronts full, and I understand they're not full now, but we think the turnover will be quicker. If we put money into where the Hangry Donut was, that business lasted 2 years, I think. But now someone was quick to look at it. So it's in good shape. I'm interested, and they're not exposing their capital to get started. It's a little bit of an incentive, if you will, for those businesses. And it's, if we don't do that, then the building that Hangry Donut was in the floor was bad. There was no kitchen in the back. I mean, where it needed a lot of work, and you're just not going to attract new business. So if we want new business, we're of the belief that we need to invest in their buildings so that when there is a turnover, that turnover is quicker and the building isn't kept vacant as long.
Right. It certainly made a pretty significant investment in one federal and stuff, and
One federal.
nobody knocking on the door at this
Well,
point with that, or?
we had people that liked it, but their preference was more on the buying side than renting.
Huh.
And then you've had.
Would you be open to selling it?
That's not our call.
Not
I
your
mean,
call.
you got private owners.
Right.
We can entice them or try to entice them.
Right.
But ultimately, it's their decision what they want to do with it. There's others.
And Adam Nanette across from City Hall, and he's still.
Yeah, he's moving
What's from there?
forward. The problem goes to, he can't find contractors
Really?
to do the work.
Huh.
I mean, that's part of it. He had hoped to be in there in September. I'm not sure where he's at with contractors, but that's sort of.
That'll happen that'll presumably happen sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh.
But just a reminder, I mean, a lot of this money we used is ARPA money.
Right.
It has to be used here soon.
As in, by the end of this year, you have to nail
Has to
down
be,
how it's being used?
has to be obligated by the end of this year.
And then another couple of years
2
to
years
actually
to
use
finally
it?
spend it. And we do have, keep in mind, the city made a number of loans to different businesses that money's coming, that's a development fund.
Yeah.
That money's coming back with interest that we can reinvest. A lot of our reinvestment does go into signage. We help offset that.
Yeah.
And mainly, it's the reason for that is we don't want vinyl signs flapping in the wind over everyone. So we want to try to have some consistency.
Yeah.
So we do invest in that as well.
I just read your letter included in my quarterly water sewer bill, mayor's message, and certainly good words for a couple of longtime business owners.
Thank you for that, yeah.
Jolly's and Ross Arsenault at Beverage Mart. I love dealing with Ross. I was, boy, that's a lot of years for those folks.
Yeah, a lot of years, a lot of commitment to community. You know, we joked with Ross. I joked with Ross at the meeting. He was there for the new owners to get their liquor license.
yeah.
Ross has been doing the Beverage Mart and bottle business since he was 5 years old. But
Is that right?
Ross corrected me and said 18. But it's a story of a self-made businessman. I mean, he sorted bottles when he was in high school, getting out of high school, and look what he's made that business into.
I love that place, and some of my friends who were never that high in the Beverage Mart with their wine edition a few years ago said rave about it. But
the wine.
I think they did a great job with that.
The wine arsenal, and his vision for that business, and what he's done on Lake and Spruce Street. He cleaned up a lot of blighted buildings, and so we'll be recognizing both at our January meeting.
That's my hope for Stewart's taking over Jolly's. I was just at a Stewart's in New York the other day. I love their Stewart's ice cream. It's literally my favorite ice cream.
right?
I'm praying that Stewart's ice cream will end up at the Vermont Jolly stores.
Supposedly, I heard it was.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I love their ice
Yeah.
cream.
I would just say not
Down to just a little over a minute.
You know, Stewart's came before us for their liquor license as well for both Brickyard and then Jolly's on the bottom of Lakeview Terrace. And we were talking that some names had been omitted on the monuments in the park,
Oh, yeah.
and there was going to be a cost of about $2,000 to engrave those names in the park. Zach Fike led the charge and did the homework on it, so we agreed to it. And the next day, Stewart's called City Hall and said, we'll cover the cost of
Really?
the 2,000 engraving. To
Yeah,
do that.
nice to hear.
Yeah, so it's nice to see that they're engaged in the community and will be. We hope they will continue to be. But I'll be curious to see how sugar's off. Or ice cream's off, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. I guess on that note, anyway, but Mr. Mayor, Merry Christmas to you
Same
and
to
your
you,
family
Richard.
and to the other folks out there, but it sounds like some good times coming up at Christmas time around here.
We hope so.
And thanks to producer Josh Pryor doing all the hard work back there. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. Thanks for watching us here on Northwest Access TV. See you next time.